when it's really hot, and it makes it hard to breathe. I feel like I can't catch my breath, and that makes me feel claustrophobic and anxious. It's really stressful. I finished taking all of my FSAs, and I had a hard time focusing with a mask on. A few weeks ago, I ran into my teacher outside of school. She didn't even recognize me because she's never seen my face before. But I knew it was her because she sits at her desk a lot without a mask on. I know my teacher has asthma and everything, but I understand why it's hard for her to wear a mask, and I think she should have that choice. But I should too. I have allergies, and I feel really anxious with my face covered, but I'm not allowed a mask break like her. It seems unfair. All this seems unfair, and it doesn't make sense. I miss seeing people's face. I miss the way things used to be. I'm scared they'll never go back to normal. Breathing freely doesn't seem like something we should have to ask any other people for permission for.
We don't put a lot of children on this show, any actually, but John Provenzano seemed like an extraordinary 10-year-old, and so we are happy to be joined by him tonight along with his father, Mike. Thanks both coming on tonight. I appreciate it. You're brave to do it, and we're the beneficiaries of it. John, I want to ask you first. You said that wearing a mask makes you feel anxious. Tell us what you do feel like when you have to wear it at school.
Well, when I have to wear it at school, it almost like builds up stress in me. I'm like, wait, what do I do? It's like, who's this? Who's that? It's like, I don't recognize anybody. Really.
Right. And you said later in your talk, and we didn't play it, but it was, I thought, the most poignant part. You said you saw one of your teachers outside of school, and she didn't recognize you. She didn't know what you look like.
Yeah. Exactly. Because we're stuck in a classroom while wearing a mask for 7 hours a day. So she's actually never seen me or any of my classmates' faces before, so when I bumped into her at school, I said, "Oh, hi." And she's like, "Oh, wait, that's you?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that is me." And she's like, "Oh, hi, John. I really don't see your face because all I see is just your eyes."
Oh, that is so unnatural. Why do you think they're making you wear a mask? Do they tell you?
Probably to allegedly keep us safe, but I just don't see any science behind it. I don't see the science behind the masks work.
Do they ever explain the science to you?
No. They just simply tell us, just wear it. It keeps you safe. Just wear it. That's all they tell us.
They yell at you? What do they say when they yell at you?
Sometimes. Oh, they literally say, "I'm done. Put your masks on because you're being disrespectful to all of us teachers who have to work really hard." And I'm like, we're also working hard too. It's almost 100 degrees outside, wearing cloth masks, and you expect us not to be hot and complain? It's just insanity.
This nicely put, and also narcissistic. So, Mike, I have to ask you: has the school ever communicated to you why they're doing this? The chances, of course, of a 10-year-old dying from COVID are much lower than being, eaten by lions. So, have they explained why they're doing it?
No, Tucker. I started asking the basic question with my wife: at what point do we end this mask mandate and get to mask optional? So I started asking questions with the principal and ran up the chain to the school board, and there was no apparent answer. There's no objective evidence. They hadn't looked at this for over 7 months from when they did the school reopening plan. So it became apparent to me that no one was really looking at this, and if this should be the most important thing. We're talking about the health and well-being physically and psychologically of our children. And it seemed like no one was paying attention to it and managing the situation in terms of when do we actually get to mask optional? When does that happen?
Did the principal and the teachers and the school board welcome your questions as a father?
We get 3 minutes at a public meeting to comment. There's no dialogue. So there's no transparency. they quote that they're following the science, but they haven't provided one scintilla of what that science is that they're relying on to make the basis of this decision to keep the kids mandated in masks when everyone else in the state of Florida, we have a great governor, is saying, let's get life back to normal. When can it return back to normal for the kids? Why is the school exempted from this, and why can they make their own rules, which is counter to everything? Now you're hearing from the CDC finally, and our governor, our commissioner of education. Our school board is making this decision all on their own without any transparency or even rationale for why they continue to do this.
So my producers are telling me that we have video of you, I think today, possibly yesterday, at the school board meeting, and it shows the kind of reception that you got.
Right.
There it is. It looks like
Yeah,
you're being asked to leave.
I was. I was trying to wrap up my comments, and they asked me to leave here and told me that I was trespassing, which I think, from what I've heard, means I'm going to be banned from speaking at future school board meetings. They don't like the message. They don't like the criticism. They don't like it when someone asks questions and tries to hold them accountable for the safety and well-being of 18,000 students and 2,000 staff members. Our school district has a positivity rate of less than 2%. Our entire county was less than 5% for the month of March. Do we have to get to zero? Yeah. And for how long do we stay at zero? When does this insanity end? This all started with.
And you're the father.
2
You have
weeks
a right to
ask
ask about your child.
Absolutely. What's more important than the health and safety of my child?
Nothing. Nothing. And most parents just sit passively and let their kids be hurt by these lunatics. I have to ask you one last question, John. You said in your talk to the school board, which I'm grateful that you delivered, that you were confused because you were yelled at for pulling your mask down to drink water, but your teachers, as they were yelling at you, had pulled their masks down. What did that make you think?
I was like, is this the school policy? Are they allowed to take their masks off? Well, we're taking our masks down to get a drink of water. Is that the new policy? No, I don't think so. So a lot was just going through my head. It's like, what do you guys mean? You have your mask down when we have our mask down to drink water, and you're yelling at us to put it up when yours isn't up? There's no logic.
What's that called? Hypocrisy, right?
Hypocrisy.
It's hypocrisy.
Yeah. They don't like it when a lot goes through your head. You are a skeptical young citizen, and I hope there are millions more like you. John and Mike, thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Tucker.
Thank you, Tucker.
What a nice thing. Thanks. So stand